Welcome to The Explainer. I am super excited you're joining us today because we're diving into source material covering something that is literally going to rewrite the architecture of the internet. We're talking about the UIID app and how it's aiming to kill password vulnerability once and for all. If you've ever felt, just completely out of control when it comes to your personal data, you're absolutely going to want to pay close attention to this.
All right, let's just dive right in. And honestly, let's start with a reality that is just incredibly frustrating. Think about it for a second. When was the last time you had to rent your own identity? Because the weary truth of it all is that we do it every single day. We are constantly forced to rent our own identities from these massive centralized tech giants just to log into the most basic everyday services. We're just constantly handing over our names, our emails, our habits, basically paying a toll just to pass through a digital turnstile. And what happens? It leaves behind this massive, messy digital footprint. We are oversharing incredibly sensitive information, and we have literally zero control over who sees it or where it's stored. All of your PII, your personally identifiable information, is just sitting out there on centralized corporate servers. And because of this fundamentally broken setup, data breaches are costing millions every single year. Your PII is the #1 target for hackers. It's exhausting, right? Because at this point, it really isn't a matter of if your private data is going to be exposed, it's just a matter of when.
So, Section 1, the UUID paradigm shift. Welcome to Web4.
The crucial point here is the solution. The source material introduces the UID App, or Universal Identity ID App, and this thing is built entirely on the principles of self-sovereign identity, or SSI. The core philosophy here is simple, but honestly, it's pretty radical. Your identity belongs entirely to you. Not to some tech giant, not to a centralized server somewhere, just you. It acts as this mandatory foundation for a decentralized Web4, pulling us away from those old, vulnerable Web2 silos into actual digital liberation.
Moving right along, Section 2, lightning-fast local verification.
Okay, so how do they obliterate those sluggish wait times of third-party APIs? They use a hybrid approach. First, the app taps into your phone's built-in NFC chip. Yeah, the exact same tech you use to tap to pay at the coffee shop, to securely pull tamper-proof data right off your physical ID or passport. Then, it runs local machine learning models directly on your smartphone to match your face. It literally transforms your phone into a localized, secure sensor terminal. The result? Millisecond verification. It's crazy fast.
0. That is the number you absolutely need to remember here. There is exactly 0 network latency because every single thing happens right there on your device. And even more importantly, there is 0 data footprint left behind on corporate servers. Your biometric verification never actually leaves your phone. Instead, your identity is securely locked down inside your device's physical security module.
All right, Section 3, Zero Knowledge Proofs Explained. Now, speed is great, but it's totally meaningless without security. So let's talk about zero knowledge proofs, or ZKPs. A ZKP basically lets you prove a statement is true without revealing the underlying data. Think of it kind of like, imagine handing a bouncer at a club a magical piece of paper that just says, yes, this person is over 18. The bouncer doesn't get to see your actual driver's license, they don't see your home address or your exact birth date or your full name, they just get the mathematical proof that you meet the requirement. By integrating verifiable credentials right alongside these ZKPs, UID completely decouples the verification process from your personal data. So whether you're accessing a restricted app or, say, an adult industry platform, this mathematical privacy keeps your actual details totally hidden. The verifying app only ever gets a cryptographic yes or no. That's it. No exposed documents, no captured birth dates, just a definitive, secure answer. Next up, Section 4, the two-level identity structure. To stop trackers and ad networks from cross-referencing everything you do, they built this brilliantly decoupled architecture. On one side, you've got your core ID. This is your highly secure, KYC-compliant anchor for official infrastructure, finance, things where your real-world identity is actually required. But on the flip side, UIID gives you unlimited aliases. These are infinite, completely private, disposable pseudonyms. You use these for your everyday online stuff, your social interactions, just browsing around. Because they're completely unlinked, trackers literally cannot piece together your digital trail. You get to browse freely, in total isolation.
All right, Section 5, the Android bubble feature.
This brings us to daily usability.
Because let's face it, advanced cryptography is useless if it's a pain to use. For Android users, the source material details something called the UIID bubble. Instead of having to close your app, open some authenticator, and wait for a portal to load, the bubble is just a subtle system-level floating icon right on your screen. It completely replaces those annoying login with Google or Facebook buttons that just track your every move. This bubble communicates instantly with the underlying hardware vault on your phone.
One tap. I mean, literally, that is all it takes. If an app demands an identity check, you just tap the bubble, pass your native device biometrics, your fingerprint or a face scan, and a cryptographic token is generated in under 1 single second. One click, under 1 second, and boom, you're in.
Which brings us to our final section, Section 6, Your Digital Sovereignty Reclaimed.
Let's quickly walk through this direct comparison because it perfectly summarizes the whole paradigm shift. Look at verification speed. We go from waiting seconds or even minutes on cloud APIs down to literal milliseconds with on-device local execution. Data footprint, the old way leaves a massive trail of PII on corporate servers, while the UIID way leaves absolutely zero footprint thanks to those ZKPs. Daily usability shifts from managing 50 different passwords and solving those awful CAPTCHAs to a one-click bubble overlay. And tracking protection, instead of centralized logins building massive profiles on you, you now have infinite aliases to isolate your behavior. The mathematical privacy here absolutely obliterates the clunky, dangerous methods of the old web.
The whole concept here is about building a bridge away from those fragmented, corporate-controlled data silos. It means your identity is securely housed exactly where it belongs, right in your pocket. According to the source material, the UIID app is actually available right now on the Google Play Store, and an iOS version leveraging Apple's Secure Enclave is slated to follow later this year. For the first time in internet history, true digital home ownership is available at the touch of a button.
So I want to leave you with this final thought to reflect on today. Are you ready to stop renting your digital life and finally claim your personal sovereignty? The technology for mathematical privacy is actually here. The Web4 paradigm has arrived, and control is finally back in your hands. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to take a closer look at how you're managing your digital footprint today.